just brought my computer.
Didn't David Webster's Day going on County too? Something? Roy? Oh, I don't know.
We were waiting, we were kind of waiting on them a little bit. They're in a meeting downstairs. I don't know what the heck's going on. So I said, I don't want to be waiting.
It's gonna be 15, 20, 30 minutes.
You think so? So I sent Scott and then a message from the meeting, or from the email that they had sent over this. Have they not sent a revised one based off of?
Mud trip, I think, is it all right?
I'm sorry?
Dusty down there where you rode?
Because I sent Scott the number, you know,
That's pretty bad.
revises this, and you revise this
You
based
can
off
use
of.
just a little bit of rain. You going next time?
I want those, that's all right, next time September, they come like on September.
June.
Which I would have
I will,
assumed you would
let's see,
over email.
yeah, let's see, I might be able to go in. Is that when he goes back on the shift, or is he going?
Joe's on, yeah.
That we have.
He'll be back on weekends off?
That's in September.
That's when I'll go.
I don't feel what he's getting, some of the things they're getting.
That's why we ask questions.
Well, he said that our general fund is okay, but I feel all the time, and,
The which one? Just the overall,
no.
the revenue,
Plus,
which I provided the main ones that we need to account for our divisions.
well, see, the only thing I don't know is that whatever you're.
Mike, I don't know, there might be.
It is.
I'm just wondering if that's transferred down and that becomes the balance
Which one?
on the general fund.
Hmm?
Yeah, because see, but in essence, these two are always supposed to match.
It should.
Yes.
Yeah.
It, you know, this should come into a reserve down here, so that one, that one
This,
should match. I mean, the reserve goes up here,
And up there had 3 holding cells
you know,
up
down
here.
here. No,
And
the
it
transfer. This is prior year
There's a
transfer.
great big
so
sale
the
back
transfer
through here.
gets the
What's up?
ventures, then you get the total.
Right here.
What's this, eighties?
Mhm.
That's what I'm thinking.
You started?
I started in 79, yeah, but the jail was here before then.
But he says, okay.
That was about 78, wasn't it, when he done that?
So 76, yeah, I see, I graduated in 76. 76 or 7, maybe, it might have been 78. Somewhere in there, yeah.
He killed that little girl down there.
Yeah, there's something on the news out here the other night, they tried to get him released or something. Yeah.
See, I don't
Eugene
have
Gall.
the breakdown of that.
But it says on here it does not reflect the full fund request on all which,
Imagine that, like here. I thought we went over
The juice to you.
it's two.
oh, he has it here in his little summary.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I don't feel right. I don't know. I don't feel right.
Borrow some.
Yeah, like some of the things that we thought were good ideas.
Yeah, I just don't think that's
Yeah.
due to,
Up here, like for the administrative up here, now we need to either make changes on current staffing, like if the current staffing that we have isn't working, then we need to.
I understand. See,
Hold on one second.
like right here, where it says courthouse spending, I project.
Moved it, picture, I can't believe it.
Responsibility of the courthouse.
Don't bitches could talk,
Right.
especially downstairs in the big courtroom.
Well, then we need to ask Peggy this, if there's other places that we'll need to hire.
Who's she really? we were supposed to get. Okay, well, maybe they didn't add that, this was just, maybe this is the only one that they added.
But to your point, we need to, because I'm still confused as to who and what.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's.
Trying to, yeah.
Yes,
That's what I need.
That's
yes,
right.
yes.
So I'm just.
Pass me the-
Started contractors more than anything.
Contractors.
Contractors.
Were some of the current positions, we've already been outsourcing
Quite a bit down.
at the tune of $8,000 a month on cleaning, which is bogus, I think.
They talked about this a little bit today. We didn't talk about it. Money, and I thought that it would be good if we could have some more training
Yeah, that would be
to
good.
be able to take these
Mm-hmm,
and we could use them, right?
yeah,
But we didn't talk this amount there.
okay, so the,
I ain't seen that in there.
no.
Stanley got them babies,
They're fed and asleep.
they're fed and full.
Yes. Thankfully, for between 2 to 3.5 hours.
Now, did they give awards for, on that dash, did the youngest participant get an award?
No.
I was gonna say, I think you rendered that, if you got that.
3.5 weeks, yeah. They did
They got
good.
medals though.
They did get medals, that is true. That's why I told them, I was like, because they'd asked if I'd handle the announcing, and I said, I mean, I think I can, but I'm not sure. So then I'll know more as we get closer, and then I was sick earlier in the week, and I was like, I just don't know, but it all worked out, so, and the weather
Well, that's the
was
courthouse. though. I
awesome,
thought-
too.
He does both of them.
They had a little
Well,
over
yeah, but here's.
200, the turnout was a little
Sheriff
bit,
Department done a good job.
See, this is
they always do,
Yeah.
with the cones, eating asphalt too, I'm gonna
Direct
cry.
traffic,
What
you
this
know.
Huh?
means about
So Williamstown didn't help back there, you know.
They didn't, did they?
Never do.
Well, yes, they do, sometimes they do.
Tell me when.
When they were
A few
cleaning up,
years,
they did, yeah.
Oh, when they cleaned up.
Yeah, there was one parked here with wagon.
at the end,
When
yeah.
they cleaned up, when they were cleaned.
I know I was giving Al a hard
That's
time
6
with it in Florida,
Every year.
so that's,
That's all right. We can help.
it gets maintained, it does. I send a few emails, like the 12th year now, and I feel, you ever just feel like things go so well.
Rick
that-
Skinner thanked Chuck.
Huh?
Rick Skinner did thank Chuck.
Well, that's good.
He said, I appreciate y'all helping out.
Yeah, well, sometimes, like, you ever feel like things go so, well, that something's just bound to go. And, I mean, literally, I send the emails to the fire department, EMTs, to the JROTC, and, to the police department, and everyone just falls into place, with little direction, because it's just a repeat.
Thank you, sir.
But it was a good day. That was a good day.
Jalen let us use
What?
truck, trailer.
What?
Jalen let us use his truck and trailer, which helped
To get the
out.
cones.
All the cones, the gator.
It takes a community, it certainly does.
Let's use his gator. Took care of it.
Got it handled, Bobby.
Right. Huh? Oh, yeah.
It kept Bobby from walking, so of course, he
I
was
didn't know, the
ecstatic.
sheriff, no, the sheriff wrote it.
I think one year, we've had folks go down the wrong lane, like vehicles, but other than that, for the most part, and that was towards the tail end of the race, so.
Huh? See, I'm in. The totals on those. And none of them, I know this one. And this one's okay.
Right. All we're gonna do tonight is discuss theoretically how you all wanna deal with it, and then we're gonna to go back and do another revision to balance it, because right now it's not in balance.
Okay.
It is not.
Okay, 'cause when I emailed you this morning and said, hey, is this the latest version that you want us to be reflecting on, or
Yes.
kinda, or not, or?
This is more to go through and answer from a policy standpoint how you want us to proceed, recognizing the fact that there are not sufficient revenues to balance even at the levels that we've got in the first draft of sent out.
Now, let me talk about this right here, will we be transferring this on our cash
Yes.
position? Okay,
Yes.
so when you're transferring your cash position, this added to this
Yes,
should be correct.
that's correct.
That's right,
Yes.
okay.
And it's not, and there will not be sufficient, there will not be 1.2 million
All right,
transferred in.
you have it as a minimum.
At this point, but it's going to be somewhere south of about 900,000. That one's about 300,000.
Okay, now, that to me is a better.
Yes, ma'am, that one's about 300,000, and then that one is the largest of the three, the largest of the two.
Well, now, like, he is over, so that would go into reserve
That goes
line.
into reserve. and that's-
So you add the reserve to
Yes.
that, and that gets his.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes. Now, let me tell you that in the past, they put all the, just plugged all the reserve into one place. Well, you can't do that because the road fund has to stay separate.
Yeah, the road fund has to stay
So
separate.
that's one of the reasons that this number looks so
Good,
much different than
good.
last year.
Much better.
Because last year,
Yes.
we transferred all the money
All
to
the
reserve
time.
in one line item.
Is that what happened to that 200,000?
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering if that's what, when I started thinking.
That is precisely what happened to that money. You know, we talked about it, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's what it is.
When did you find that out?
Going through the numbers Sunday afternoon, or Saturday afternoon.
The driver's license, they can get it printed.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No,
Did you bring a good copy of your budget message?
On budget?
Budget message
That's what I was.
that outlined how we got the numbers for
See
the
what happens.
first revision.
Oh, you mean when we worked something together? Yeah, I did.
Remember what you sent me?
Yeah.
Budget
These
message.
are the original
Your memo.
one, the memo, yeah, I've got a copy of
Oh,
it.
good, good.
It's sideways, but.
Thank you. Sideways.
the-
Scan it in.
Yeah, and I was trying to, I was working on it, so.
Well, I'm gonna talk about revenues and then we'll move over to the, talk about revenues and then we'll want to start going.
Okay, this is a caucus meeting.
Not yet.
You ready? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let Scott start off on revenues, since he's been working on it pretty hard, and we're gonna start with him and then go into expenditures.
I would just point out to the magistrates that the revenue numbers that you have are, as is always the case when you're doing budgeting, best guess unless the state has advised us of revenue numbers. You will see that the road department is over, if we budgeted exactly as it is in the first revision, would have a surplus of cash. That's because they'll end the year with a little bit of money, and they are owed some money from FEMA that we will continue to try to secure, but won't spend it, obviously, unless those funds come in. In the general fund, if we were to spend everything that is programmed on the first revision that the judge sent to you, which is as close as we could get to the department requests, absent capital improvements, and in the sheriff's department, it would allow for 1 new hire and 2 vehicles. If you fund that budget at full capacity, you're going to run about $300,000 short. In the detention center side, if we fund the detention center budget as is shown in the first revision, with the revenue that we're anticipating, it will run about $600,000 short. So the bad news is for you all this evening is that from a policy standpoint, you're going to have to make determinations of where you want me to take the red pen and start making cuts. There are not sufficient revenues to balance the budget. In the first revision, we did make provisions for 1% pay raises, 2% pay raises for anyone under 35,000. Anyone from 35 to 49.9 would have gotten a 1%, and anyone over 50,000 got 0. given the situation that we find ourselves in with insufficient revenue to cover the demand for services, I believe it's best to flatline all the salaries, but again, that's a policy decision that only the judge and magistrates can make as we move forward before first reading of the budget. So that's my opening comments. Then I'll be glad to try to answer any questions. I will tell you that, and then the sheriff knows this from collecting the taxes, the property taxes will not sustain growth in programs in Grant County at this point. We're continuing to suffer from the downturn in the economy that resulted in record foreclosures, property reassessments. It takes 3 to 4 years for those to catch up on the rolls, and it'll take 3 to 4 years for those to recover. Building permits are up. That's the good thing. New construction is pulling forward, so we can expect better years ahead based on the applications for new
The
homes.
gasoline, wholesale prices hurt us right now. You know, it helps us buying gas. It's really cut back our road funds tremendously.
The wholesale price of gas has dramatically impacted our road fund, and even though we're showing a little surplus, you will also see very small expenditures there compared to previous years.
And I will say this, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but we have put an increase for y'all. That's up to y'all. If y'all want an increase or not, that'll be up to y'all. By 1%. Well, that's up to y'all. I thought you'd say it, but I'm not gonna. I just want y'all, have you already said no on that, you got? Well, thank you very much. It'll save a little. Thank you. So, are you through?
I'm finished, sir.
Okay, where do y'all wanna go? Y'all wanna go, which one do y'all wanna look at first?
Oh, my.
In a second. Start wherever you want. You can go on, expenditures, or you go in revenues.
Okay, on one of the questions I've had on jail, since we backed it down to 245, that only makes us a 315 capacity. Did we ever go back to Airmark and Southern Health to get a new quote based on that capacity?
Yes, I talked to Southern Healthcare today, and they want to do a pool. And I don't know you got my email or not, but he emailed me, and we'd have to discuss that. Do we want to go to a pool? And I don't really know the advantage or disadvantage, Scott, do you?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. Well, he told me that if it's, the pool is 60,000, he thinks it's a very safe number. If we don't go over that, we get 60,000 back. But if we go over, we got to pay for all the health care.
No, you're talking about the pharmaceutical.
Pharmaceuticals, excuse me.
No, I'm talking about
Just
The
overall
healthcare.
con.
the overall contract. I mean, if we're down 300, what, that would be
What we put in.
45.
But I think, Ms. Coldiron, and I may be wrong, but the jailer is here. I think the other night they were comfortable, even though we didn't budget the revenue at that higher number, that they could contain, that they would be able to maintain a higher level
260.
of 260. Is that correct?
265.
265. Yes.
Is what we said,
Yes.
that's what you all said.
And then this budget, when I did the
But what
math,
Shauna is saying is that the contract with Armark and them is based on 350 bed count. And since we're going shorter than what we,
Okay. And we did talk to Aramark about that, that if, as your population goes down, the price goes up on
Okay.
food.
Yeah.
So we're actually better off
I
to
got
lock
you.
at the price we've got. Because
I got
if the
you.
population drops and we're not paying it, then our costs go up.
And then that would also cover us for when we're hopefully always operating at full capacity.
And
Absolutely.
the jailer did consent with Aramark to raise the caloric intake and keep the food costs the same per inmate, because they're giving up a small part of the commission out of the commissary, 2%, to help offset the cost of the food, caloric intake.
And is that okay with you guys? See, they would take 2% from them, well, not them, but the commissary, to help pay for the increase in the food costs.
So this one here,
288.91.
Yeah, I just wondered.
That's 245. This one here.
Because I
Okay, here's the,
Well, I can't find that one.
Shauna?
Okay. I'll find it.
Okay. Yeah.
I got it, found it, my bad. Okay.
So I feel like, starting with updating the budget, to reflect the 265, and then clearly the two largest contracts, from the jails, fund would be the Southern Health Partners contract and the Earmark contract, which it looks like we would yield to the number that it has been at serving a capacity of 350.
Yes, ma'am.
Whereas I think Ms. Coldiron's point of view has been, how come it is that the contract does not reflect a lower amount? And the way that I understand it to be in the past in dealing with them also is that they, there's not a whole lot of flex. You're either a 350 bed facility or you're a 250 bed facility. There's not a variance on how you're charged. But then if we also yield to saying, let's just say we're a 250 bed, then we're paying a higher daily cost per the meal.
You pay a higher daily cost per meal, and it also puts Airmark at a disadvantage. It takes them approximately 3 to 7 days to make the turn when you have a significant increase or significant drop or significant menu change. So they've got to be able to plan based on your average daily population. So that's why, quite frankly, moving the number down sounded like a good philosophy, good theory, but when you hear their side of why it doesn't.
Starts at 200
Yeah.
and 220, it drops, right, you get up over 340, meals around 99 cents or a little bit over.
So when will we get a copy to review them? Because I think the devil's in the details in reading them, reading the contracts to where,
We're working on a draft contract now that will be sent to their attorneys, and they said it would take 3 to 4 weeks to get back.
oh, wow.
But we can still go on with the menu if we want.
Well, I mean, can we at least see the draft in it? Because
Sure.
I haven't seen anything besides last year's, which kind of was odd, how that one transpired. Okay.
And let me point out that the contract in place at the jail on food service is dated 2014. The only thing this fiscal court has done is approve the amendment to the contract in 2015, which was already called for in the 2014 contract. The 2014 contract spelled out when increases would take effect. So in July of this past year, you all approved an amendment, but it was an amendment that was provided for in the 2014 contract that never came to the fiscal court.
Right, and then we also approved a new contract with Southern Health Partners.
That is correct.
Too.
Yeah, the first contract with Aramark was signed by the jailer, not our current jailer,
Right.
and it wasn't even taken to the fiscal court. So he's working on a new contract
Okay.
for us to vote on.
It was in March of 2014.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, because quite frankly, the proposed budget, that particular area is probably the largest discrepancy.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
sometimes to the tune of over a $500,000 discrepancy, or depending on how you look at it, maybe just, I say this lightly, a few $100,000 discrepancy.
Thanks a lot.
But, and those two areas are the only areas I can see where we could save
Well,
some money, short of where we talked with the jailer and with Jason, with a few modifications, but I don't know that it
hey, Scott, is the
adds up.
county attorney's salary, is that set in the state?
Yes, it is.
Okay, same money there.
And if you look at that amount, you would,
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
We could maybe save on petroleum products, so I don't worry on the fool with that, because I don't wear gas. I'm gonna say cheap, stay cheap or not, guys.
Do you just wanna go through the,
Where are you, which
That-
budget are you looking
I'm
at?
it's
on,
on the
uh,
Are you
budget.
in the general fund, the jail fund, or the revenue fund?
I'm on the,
General.
sheriff's.
Oh,
Oh,
sheriff.
you're on the sheriff's.
Sorry, not too specific. Petroleum product, but we kind of talked to them about that 65,000 number. Did you include a raise in the bailiff pay? I forgot what we did on that.
Bailiff pay was at 2% in this revision, the budget revision. of the
Chuck, have
budget.
they always gotten a raise every year? Bailiff, I don't think they
Well,
have.
we raised it $1 last
Last
time.
year.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And it hasn't been touched since the positions were created, like the new court. or
Well,
the
it's,
new-
started out 9, then we put in for $1 last year. So, I mean, it's $11 now.
Yeah. So 2% of that is about, not a lot of money. but
It's about the
money.
same as last year, according to,
And, you know, quite frankly, if you- to leave the 1 or 2% raises in there, when health insurance is going up, the employees are still not gonna see a net increase in their
Because the health insurance
compensation.
was 6%. 6%, right? It's 20 last year. That hurt us last year. I looked at that capital construction product, which Scott and I talked about, we gotta leave that there in case there's just some stuff to follow up on, even after the jail opens, you know, on the punch list, stuff like that.
we're,
Under jail, I'm under fiscal court. It'd be 5025. That's a big number, although, well, we can save on that, you know.
And Judge, I would point out to you.
what are you anticipating there? Like, just tell me, what you think?
I'm sorry.
What would you think we would need to do on capital construction?
Which
She's talking about the jail project.
I don't know if it's a jail, it just says fiscal court. It's just that even $250,000.
Remember I asked you about it before we came out?
Yes, that
507.44.
line item is where we're carrying, if you look at the revenue side, we're showing 250,000 in borrowed money and 250,000 there. Because if we don't finish the project and pay all the contractors by July 1, you have to show the carry forward of revenue and expenses in the next budget.
So it's no new work?
No
it's
new
just-
work.
Okay.
It's simply it's simply closing out the existing contract.
Okay.
Where's the carry forward on the revenue on that? What line?
The budget,
Yeah.
744, 5025744. What, the line item?
No, I'm looking for the revenue side of it.
Oh, revenue, excuse me, sorry.
That's where I tried to match that up.
It's under borrowed money,
Under what number?
general fund, at the very bottom. You reformatted it. Can I see yours in that, Judge?
Yes.
Nope.
But I'm ready.
Let's see.
What, 4,000 code is it?
It says, well, on the expenditures,
I don't have revenues, you need to give it
The expenditures is
744.
744.
to me. Who's got revenues?
Seven.
Excuse me.
It's not,
Can you pass it down, Mr. Newman? It's, the 250,000 was on both sides.
You can even say, heck, we're looking for numbers, look for $250,000.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And
I don't
that's,
think
it's not
yeah.
there.
So that may be part of why you were saying it wasn't balancing.
No, but
I don't see it either,
I don't see it.
which it would be underneath general or,
Which I totally forgot it.
I know, because that's what I was saying, that could help out.
That's exactly, quite frankly, it's this, when I printed this sheet off, it's not showing the borrowed money as coming into the total. So your number there would be $250,000 higher.
Good.
Yeah, that's
Well,
a
that's
good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a
very
real
good
good thing.
There's a separate sheet for borrowed money, and it's not on here.
And but it's gonna be, what code's it gonna be? Do you know? 40 what?
Yeah, hold on just a minute.
So that would be construction carryover.
Oh, I got the budget, where am I?
So it's 744.
Is that Scott? I can't remember.
It's under 4911.
Yeah, borrow
We
money.
borrowed money, this year was 1.5 million, next year will be 250. I apologize for that, it didn't carry that, it printed off on the borrowed money on a separate page.
4911,
Yes, ma'am.
Last item.
But again, that's only if the money is there to transfer it.
yeah, but if the money's not there, then
Then
you're
it'd
gonna
be
take your
wiped
capital
off.
Then the
project
expense goes
away.
away as well.
So
Correct.
it's gonna be a wash.
It'd be a, what'd you say?
It'll be a wash.
It'd be a wash, but still,
Oh, it's
we
gonna have
have to show the
a,
revenue coming in.
Well, she's saying
No,
if the project doesn't take, if the project satisfies this fiscal year, we will not need to have this line item at all.
We'll keep it in there.
no, you don't wanna do that.
Because the money isn't there.
By law, once you approve the budget, the only way to take it back out would be through the amendment process and doing a second ordinance. What you would do is just leave it there and neither spend the money nor borrow the money.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. But Judge,
But like you said, it's a wash, huh?
you were, somehow we bounced from the sheriff's office petroleum.
He went
To
to the
borrow the
top of
money.
his page.
Well, I mean, that she asked a question. Oh, I didn't do it.
I just wanted to point out that the 65,000 that is budgeted is not what the sheriff asked for.
What he asked for.
The sheriff actually asked for 72,000.
Yeah.
So I would ask you, please don't cut that line item anymore. That line item, I think, has already been cut as far as it can be cut.
Yeah,
I
this
agree.
last year was, 81,
You're
or
right, Scott.
72. Yep.
So we get to,
And we just have to continue to hope that the wholesale price of gas continues to drop.
Yeah.
see, this is, he's got it as an expenditure, but he doesn't have it coming in on the revenue side. And that's, oh, okay.
So in essence, we did pick up 4 million.
Yeah. On revenue.
Right, unavailable, and that, again, I would point out to you, that assumes that we have a carry forward of around 900,000 of unspent money this year.
Well, that puts our, so that puts us down to cutting 138,383.
Yes.
Less,
In the- but-
yes.
That has to come out of the general fund,
Right.
plus the shortage in the shortfall in the jail. You'll have to transfer from general to jail to cover those expenses.
Well, let's get the general first.
Right, to see what we have to work with. Okay.
It's a lot easier to cut
You're at $138,000 difference right now.
Yes.
Sheriff, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do you think that there's any chance of property taxes going up 138,000 next year?
Please say yes.
No, I want you to say, I want you to be honest.
I mean, I didn't see it based on the revenue, but if,
No, I mean, not from just past experience on it. If it does, we won't see it for another 2 years. To go back up that much, but I mean, I can take a closer look at it tomorrow to see.
I just don't see it getting there. I just-
Because, I mean, that's a phone call to the PVA to try to see what the assessments are and what's been added.
It'd be nice if you do that.
Scott, under what line item, on the sheriff's, budget did you put the equipment as far as the taser?
It's in the 7170, and it does provide both for the tasers and the off-duty weapons.
Okay.
I'd like to get both
Both are provided for in this.
tasers, we gotta get tasers for sure.
717, or which one did you say, Scott?
It's 717, basically.
Yes,
It's
got it.
5015-717.
Got it, okay. And so, those were,
Okay, that's in the law enforcement.
yeah.
Did you say that our salaries was increased showed an increase there?
Yes, ma'am.
155.
All right, and so what does that cut that back to?
Like probably a few thousand, probably
I
not a
know, but
lot.
every thousand is important right now.
That's what I'm saying, you know, his total salary in that department is 497,000 for salaries. You're looking, 2% of that is nine,
What are you looking at, which line item?
515.
The magistrate's salary.
Oh, you're at the magistrate's salary. You are jumping around on me. I was back in the
I'm
sheriff.
lost.
You better jump over here.
I mean, I'm confused. Sorry.
What, okay.
We need to quit
I
jumping.
mean,
We
we're
need-
jumping from budget to
Yeah.
budget. I don't know
I
where
was
we're.
just following the line.
I'm not sure if I thought I was the only one sitting over here having.
Yeah,
On the sheriff's budget,
Yes, sir.
them two cruisers,
Yes, sir.
our last meeting, we discussed those.
Yes, sir.
Under these two, are they gonna be purchased or are they gonna be leased?
Purchased.
Purchased.
Okay, well, I mean, last time we was thinking about the
option.
lease option, yeah, so they are
With
gonna be
lease,
purchased.
option lease.
Okay, and which line item does that reflect?
That's
723.
723 under the sheriff.
Okay. And they were originally projecting,
90,000.
He had asked for 5.
I just don't see room to cut anywhere our spending. I've gone over this 3 or 4 times. I don't want to hurt anybody. For some, it can't change at all.
You have changed, Chuck, look over this, I'm sure you have.
No, sir.
No.
No one's seen this before you.
just want to check the date.
Let's get back that bailiff pay. It's kind of confusing, and it always has been to me, because it's paid out but reimbursed,
Is all that.
what does the county, on the county, what does the bailiff, line item entail? Is that just salary, or is that including, benefits and
Salaries.
salaries only?
Yes, sir.
So, we as a county pays their benefits.
Two deputies.
2 days.
Because the rest are part-time, right?
Yeah, the 2 full-times.
You only have the 2 full-time that you're paying.
Okay.
How much do they reimburse us for? I know we pay the dollar on it for hazardous duty.
No, they're not in it. The bailiffs are not in hazardous duty. The only 2 that
Yeah,
are
the
in hazardous duty are
full-time
the 2
are.
full-time.
Full-time,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
part-time are not in hazardous duty.
And they're not receiving any health
Any-
I thought we
benefits.
gave everybody a dollar raise, though.
They did.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought we
last
justified that by saying they were in hazardous duty, so I'm wrong.
No, they're not
I'm
wrong.
wrong, okay.
But backing up, the state,
Yes, sir.
the state pays them that reimbursement salary.
4567.
The state reimburses the county.
They pay how much an hour?
I think it wasn't it like 8 or 9?
It's $9 an hour.
$9.
They pay 9, so we as a county
Pay 11.
pay
The difference.
the difference.
Yes, sir.
$3 difference.
See, it was 8, went to 9, and trying to get it raised to 12, but since they were working on Clef, AOC
They
said they were
kinda,
hurting.
didn't.
So Clef was what was concentrated
So
on.
9 is the average in the whole state. That's what the
The
state.
9
pays
is
all.
the amount that everybody gets reimbursed.
Okay, every county.
Yeah, so every county that pays, like a lot of them pay more than that,
Yeah.
they're having to subsidize the
They're in
difference.
dire straits too, by the way.
You know.
I got a letter the other day from them.
But I would point out to the magistrates that a number of years ago, Grant County imposed a $5 fee on citations at the Justice, that go through the Justice Center. And that $5 fee has to go toward operations and maintenance of the Justice Center.
Right.
No, it's $10 on a service, $10 on a service of papers. Papers to serve a criminal or a civil summons is $40. We charge $50, $10 of that is what you're talking about.
Is that what Judge Knight's talking about? She's
Right now,
been
there's
talking to us.
there's a percentage that we get off of every paid ticket, once it's paid in full to the court.
This was one she said the fiscal court imposed.
That's the $10 addition to a paper
She said
service.
5, but
She said 5, but she made
It's
it.
actually
But
10.
the bottom line is, that helps offset you're paying the bailiffs and unreimbursed maintenance. So really, the bailiffs are not
Should be costing.
technically costing general fund dollars,
Right.
because that additional service fee helps
Pays-
offset
pays-
that cost. Yes,
Does the offset.
yes, sir.
Now, what line item is it? For some reason, I'm hung up on this Justice Center. Kenny Slater's salary, is it paid for by the county? Or
Yes.
the
Justice,
Yeah.
Justice Center.
AOC pays that.
AOC pays his full salary?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And that's reflected,
In an AOC contract, they did cut our contract this year from 210 to 179. And it's based on the square footage of the Justice Center.
So, we're going to absorb a little bit.
So any more discussion on, as keeping us organized?
The jail gets hurt because we're getting paid 31, 34 again this year. And how many years has that been that?
Since it's been in effect,
I mean, when, do you know what it was?
what, 99?
So in other words, in 17 years, or whatever it is, we've not gotten a raise on our prisoners from the state. We have to absorb the food costs, medical costs, and that's what hurts us too. But the state, we can't go to them, they don't have any money.
Moving in line with the line items underneath fiscal court, do you know what we spent year-to-date for advertising and legal notices? We've got 5,000 projected, but I don't know if that's, I mean, since we're looking for any thousands of dollars
And
that
she's under
exist.
fiscal court costs.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a moment, I'll tell you, as of April.
I've got that on your Scott. Oh, I think I got it
Just to see if we could maybe shave 1,000 or 2 off.
right. You might be looking at where, aren't you?
Well, that's what Shauna said, every $1,000 counts, so.
I had that written down.
And thank you for adding the new line item underneath, like the vehicle insurance claims for good housekeeping measures.
Yep, we did.
Yeah, that was one that was hitting the sheriff's budget hard.
Yeah, big time.
I've been trying to keep a little running laundry list of other things we said we wanted to do with this budget. I know that.
What's that
was
line
one.
item number?
That line item number, sir, is, 015025, and then the last 3 digits will be 539.
5025, 539.
And it would be underneath fiscal court 5025.
5025,
539.
539.
Yes.
After a while, they all run together.
That's good. Let's be honest, that's good. You gotta go again. No, just get it. Here it is. No, it's not.
That goes
Is that
to
so?
the economic development.
Magistrate, at this point,
Wait,
is it 539?
Yes, sir.
539 to date, we've spent $4,866.
No,
Dang.
that's right on
It was 1,500, and that line item was $3,366 was transferred in.
Shoot.
So we can't cut that.
Okay.
Good question.
And then in that same section, the maintenance agreements, is that line item 330 underneath fiscal court 40,000, is that for the cleaning of this building? I knew that we had prior.
What is it, how much?
Right here.
That's for
40,000.
all maintenance agreements, that's like the fire alarm, elevator, anything in the building that we pay a maintenance agreement
Okay.
on.
Do you recall prior, speaking of the building, where we wanted to take a look at the cleaning services and the monthly expenses that we were, do you remember that?
Yeah.
And that was something that was put into place pretty early in the term, and that we every month asked, what is this amount for? Have you spent any time reflecting on that?
Yeah, you're talking about cleaning services?
Yes. For this building. And
Well, our people are not happy with our cleaning services. Are you happy with it?
I don't have it.
What?
Class D's do my cleaning
Oh,
with
okay.
Kenny.
Okay.
And that's what I'm wondering, like,
Well, I
if
mean,
we
they
can go
don't,
do
they
something
sweep my
like
floor
that.
once a week and dump my trash.
And I knew that you had bought like the fourth cleaner before the Justice Center, where we said that we would.
You're on the fiscal court now. let's see.
Yeah, well, but what I'm saying was, you had mentioned that that cleaner could come over here, and I'm just wondering
Sure.
if we can't get a cleaning crew, Class D cleaning crew, because, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that like a couple $1,000s a month that we're paying? Because every month, one of us seems to ask that question.
Well, like I said, our people here are not happy with our cleaning people, so we've been looking at maybe.
Do you know
doing
where
something
that's
in that area.
reflected?
Yes, ma'am, it's under maintenance agreement. In the Justice Center, it's paid for, it shows for some reason in the way this system is programmed as Centos.
Okay, but not but does that include this building too? Because I'm
This
sure.
building is paid separate. out of
And
the
do you know where that one's
It's under-
at?
Yes, ma'am, just.
It is in the maintenance agreement there too?
Yes.
I just think that
40,000.
that's an easy place where we could save some money if the jail thought that we can get like the Class D crew.
It's under the
You
40,000.
have to have somebody to supervise them though.
Right.
I mean, the jailer's only got so many supervisors.
Well, that or,
Now, let me ask you $1 million question here. Using Class Ds, for example, if we needed 2 Class Ds to clean the courthouse, could not we utilize someone rather than jail deputies that has went through some kind of training
Well,
to coordinate that?
One of the things that the judge and I have been talking about with the treasurer and with Ms.
Yeah.
Conrad is there's discontent with the current vendor. We've got Kenny running back and forth between buildings. We've got issues where the jailer is swamped already. What we had contemplated doing was hiring an individual whose job it would be to go to the jail every day and get 2 inmates, clean this building, the sheriff's office, check
Whatever.
do whatever. check the filters on top of the roof so that the jailer doesn't have that responsibility to deal with that stuff. And just have a general maintenance person who would work for the fiscal court, who would use 2 inmates to do that.
Can we make that happen?
In doing that, we would save $30,000 a year based on what we would pay and what we're paying in contract services right now.
Can we do that, Jim?
Well, good.
Have you got that incorporated in this budget?
No, ma'am, because that was something to bring up to you tonight, but that's a $30,000 savings,
And
because it would reflect cuts.
Well, you know,
And the
I'm
reason
not-
I say 30,000, if I might, just for purposes of clarification, once that transaction takes place, or transfer takes place, then Kenny would spend all of his time at the Justice Center with his, and he's got 2 inmates. They could keep the Justice Center clean, the floors, they could do that. We've got the buffer and everything down there, I'm told.
We do.
So,
yeah, well,
You know.
so it was.
Well, that's the point I was getting ready to make. I've not said nothing for a year about it, but, you know, I've always thought that, you know, by using Kenny, swapping him off wouldn't,
Kenny's overwhelmed.
well, we shouldn't, that's something we shouldn't have been done in the first place, I thought.
Well.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it, honestly.
no.
That
I mean, he
cleans
fixes
that
our balances
over there now.
and once a week at our place, but he's doing it everywhere.
What do you mean, who's doing it now? The inmates or?
No,
They've got a crew that comes in over there and,
Is it the same crew that comes here?
no.
Same company,
Oh, is it?
same company.
They're pitiful.
So-
Well, all I know is every month we have to approve the expenditures and it's a pretty big high amount.
Our research shows that we could hire 1 person to supervise 2 inmates to do this building, the sheriff's office, Ms. Clemens, the clerk's office. 1 person with 2 inmates and set up a decent schedule can keep these buildings clean, change the air filters at the jail, and let Kenny and his 2 inmates concentrate solely on the Justice Center. That would provide a net savings of $30,000 a year.
Kenny used to scrub the floors with a scrubber and did a decent job. I mean, it looked nice. I don't know if Bobby remembers or not. The floors, you know, Todd just waxed them and everything, but they look awful.
Now?
Yeah, they're dull.
There's no way he can be maintaining that building with everything he's doing.
No, he
He
can't
spends more
do it.
time having to run from here to there to everywhere than he's
The
got.
floors look dull. and
Maintenance agreement?
Well, they look good at the beginning after it did.
Oh, yes.
It's already got.
But all that
Cut
traffic,
that one 30,000.
But
With
then we
nobody
have to
mopping
add
them,
it
or-
for salary
But
elsewhere.
we're also gonna we would also terminate the contract here
Yeah.
for
We
cleaning
have to do
and
something
do it
because
with
it
1
really makes
individual.
me
If
sick.
the jailer thinks that he'll have 2 Class Ds available, then we can use the Class Ds with a supervisor here and Class Ds with a supervisor at the Justice Center.
I mean, quite frankly, if you get this building under control, it may not even be a full-time job once you get a schedule in place and get over this hump of updating stuff.
It's gonna be a full-time
Well-
job.
Well, I'm just saying, at some point in time, when you only have 1 building, you have 2 inmates, that's three people working.
Well, but right
2
now,
people working, 1 person supervising.
we'd like to
Can't work with
we'd also
Class
like to have this person have some knowledge so that when somebody tears the toilet off the wall down at the park,
Okay.
or a
And
sink off
just
the wall, that they can
overall-
go do, we want somebody who can actually do light maintenance.
Okay.
Along with the assistance of 2 inmates.
Yes.
We've got a guy in mind, but we've just been talking about it.
And if that's approved, we would advertise for that position.
It's something we.
Save that money.
You got someone? Okay, well, that's something that we need to
Move forward with,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, I
um,
agree with that.
So the
So
Justice
you're
Center
gonna-
may have some full-time staff again.
So that maintenance agreement goes down to what?
0, well, I'd have to check which ones have to do with HVAC, the elevator maintenance, things like that. And the net effect would be a $30,000
Is that
decrease.
including their, fringe?
right.
Yes.
Well, I have to say, that guy on the elevator, if it goes down, he's there.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait a day or 2.
Well, I think you have to
Sure.
have that for the Disabilities Act. There's no way
Right.
you're ever gonna get rid of that.
Yeah. Yeah. He does inspections also.
Water, Bobby?
No, thank you.
Okay.
So then that helps out there, and I think it addresses a issue that we have brought up on a monthly basis for several months.
Hey, they're laughing at me.
I have to tell you, this, I've done a lot of budgets. This was, trying to get this one to balance.
So not much can take place on the PVAs and the Board of Assessments.
PVA Board of Assessments are set by the state.
County treasurer, no.
No.
Okay, the data processing, and this would be with Mr. West.
We will find a way to cut 10,000 out of that line item.
Okay, and then computer equipment, what are we
Well, when I say out of
anticipating?
that area, out of that element,
Okay, so that may be a place then.
either in manpower or equipment. We
Okay.
bought 2 servers this year. I don't think we're gonna need
Need.
those next year.
So there, Ms. Coldiron, with your 108, may be able to shave 5.
No, I said.
Five,
Oh,
10.
10, okay.
Down to 90,000, 98,000.
Nothing with the library. Board of Elections, with the printing at 35,000, we will still absorb
Now,
that.
let me,
No
I'm gonna
special
regret this,
elections.
Sheriff. We only have 1 election next year that comes out of this budget. That's the November election. There are
Right.
no elections in 2017. So theoretically, you could cut that line item
By half?
by half, but I would caution you, the following year, you've got to put that money back in the budget.
Yeah.
So I would suggest strongly that while it's, for purposes of full disclosure, you could cut it, I would not recommend that you cut it until at least the next meeting when you've had a chance to review it after we put the changes in from tonight.
Could possibly. Okay. Planning and zoning,
Let's hold on just a second.
where you at, Bob?
Is there a contract, is our line item for Tabitha in here?
I was wondering, did we ever get the money for her yet?
Her excess fees, that will come in and will show in your carry forward.
Which will be close, like.
Now,
around
what she
100,000.
asked to do with some of that carryover money as far as that ramp and stuff, is that shown in here anywhere?
No,
Yeah.
sir.
I'm
There
not
were
seeing
no
it.
capital
Her
projects.
handicap ramp that she wanted.
There were no capital projects provided for this.
Okay, I just wanna know where that was at in here,
No,
if
sir.
it was in there.
No, sir.
Well,
Not right now.
Yeah, I think we should work to see,
Now, that's something we
yeah.
can't drop the ball on. I mean, we might not be able to do it right now, but we can't lose track of that, it's got.
Right.
Huh?
What'd you say? Yeah, okay.
Excuse me,
What's that?
Jacqueline, I read.
No, but that would go underneath the fiscal court
Yeah.
because of the building piece, but
Right.
I do think that that needs to be an asterisk. Considering that amount was a little over 100,000,
It should, yeah.
that should be deposited, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that she reimbursed you, well.
But we're working on it, yes.
But it doesn't reflect until you, because there's not the line item based on previous years, if you recall, was like $1,000, or 5,000 rather, and she turned over 100,000. So you won't, unless we amend the budget, that money won't show until next year's budget. But it will show as a carry forward.
Okay. Underneath the economic development, following in line with the budget,
Yes, ma'am.
the 46,000 contract with government agency, that is for the quarterly payments to the economic development.
Which one, I'm sorry?
The Economic Development Authority, 5075, contracts with government agency, the 46,000 annually, that accounts for the quarterly.
Payments
Thank you.
for the IDA.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So is that?
No. That 46,000,
Right.
that's our total contribution.
Right, and we pay quarterly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Is it IDA you're talking about?
Uh-huh.
Well, you know, Crittenden dropped out, that was
Right.
about 6,000.
So do we
So
have to
did
take
you-
up some
did you-
slack
Yes,
there?
we have to take up slack,
Does that
Well-
46 include the slack?
Yes.
yes.
Well, remember
So
they.
that went up, that number went up, but now Dry Ridge had to go up, so did Williamstown,
Because of that.
because Crittenden dropped out,
Okay.
yeah. And supposedly Jamie Becker Nance is begging him to get back in. I don't think it's gonna happen, though.
Well, what is this community block grant?
Yeah, what do you anticipate that for? And, because I haven't lost line of sight of somehow by grace of God,
Community development block
for
grant
the
is showing
Corinth
a
Fire
zero.
Department.
Do I,
You're talking about
741?
741 has got a zero.
Ours
No, it's
says 50.
50,000.
The 50,000 is a placeholder in case you all were to make an application, but we're not making any applications for the building that was voted on. But I did put a placeholder of 50 in that line item in case you make application for any
So-
other community development block grant.
Okay, so, but that essentially is
And
a,
it also reflects on the revenue side
That's
as a state grant. So if you cut it there, you got to cut state grants
Oh.
50,000.
well, the state grants, you've got 50,000, it's got ambulance, 50,000.
Because that's what they used it for the last,
That was
Okay.
that one-time fee.
that was
Okay.
the one time.
So this is, okay, all right. You're equal.
That's something
Yes.
we're gonna have to talk about at another time, but because we're gonna need some revenue at Crittenden in
What?
regards to, ambulance.
Excuse me?
We'll talk at a later time.
Another block grant, huh?
Well,
It's coming though.
Oh, I know what.
there is already
You
a,
need to call Jimmy Wells tomorrow, Steve.
Okay.
there is a line item in here that if we had to spend money in an emergency situation, it's contract with private agency 5121315, has 125,000 in it. So if there were an emergency situation with a piece of equipment or something that we had to apply for a grant quickly, that money could be used.
We're gonna need it.
For Crittenden,
Yeah. Just a heads up,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Can we go to courthouse? 580?
this is my court.
We're there.
People. Where are
That
you at?
courthouse
No,
building
I'm
supervisor,
sorry.
is that the one you're talking about? Who is that?
That must be their recommendation, because the line isn't there. The
In 5080,
580.
first one.
First one's courthouse building supervisor.
yes, that would,
That was the recommendation?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So which would zero out the next on the janitorial.
that's correct.
Okay.
Which was zeroed out.
Oh, the clock maintenance. Does the clock work?
No,
And the reason why I ask,
I wish it did.
45,000
to fix it.
well, with the renovations that are taking place with downtown Williamstown and the economic piece, they've asked, and I don't, have they approached you yet?
No, but I'm talking about painting
The building
It's
and just getting,
$6,000.
and getting our turf as up to date and aesthetically pleasing as possible as the other buildings are working to do such before the ARC opens. And they
We
had
come all we
asked,
can to the courthouse
Yeah.
and clerk's office.
well, that's what I told them, like the doors and stuff, and that you've been working on it. But someone had asked if the clock worked, and I said, that's a good question, I'm not sure.
It does not. And I'm sorry to say, but it's 45 grand to fix that thing.
Do you think like we will just remove it?
I thought about putting a battery powered clock up there or something.
What?
Battery powered or something.
Oh, like just put a new face on it or something?
Well, I don't know.
I think Judge Link fixed that at one time.
Oh, you sure?
I know it's
Pat
been
told
an
me
off
they
and
did.
on
It's been some
thing.
time ago, but I'm pretty sure that clock used to work. They put a bunch of money into it.
They did. Yeah, it was working.
Yeah, the
Yep.
maintenance, the repair costs on it now were between 45 and 60,000. We had
Oh,
three different contractors come in and give us estimates. And because the glass is broken out of it, the gears are messed up, it's,
What caused that? Just wind and stuff?
Wear and
It's,
tear.
well, it's just
Oh,
so,
the
window, it's just like
It's
the
old.
windows are rotted out of it and it's just,
Well, I was gonna paint up there, but that's another 6,000 to 8,000. because it's such a bad place to paint, you know, I
Right.
wouldn't wanna try to paint it. They're gonna, you know,
I'd take a better look at it. I mean, maybe better off just to completely remove it.
Or redo it. I mean, we were looking at that last week or a couple weeks ago.
you
We
were.
were, yeah, when we were up there this last meeting,
Oh.
before it got started, we walked out on the walkway.
Oh, right out this door?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you can walk right there and see it,
Oh, really?
but it needs to be, I wouldn't paint what's there.
You
It's
would,
fall, no, it needs to be like rebuilt and covered with hardy board, cause the wood's all
you
buckled.
couldn't
and-
caulk it and everything? I had looked.
No, it's wood's deteriorated on it.
Ah,
It's got
okay.
just plexiglass that's ribbed plexiglass over it.
We should just take a look at it.
Skylights,
Yeah,
I'll
it's,
find out.
They're gonna
All I
grant
know
to
is
the
they asked us
Historical
if we could do
Society that
something
can
with
be
it,
applied
whether
for.
it's fix it
Hey.
or do whatever,
Yeah.
just
That's the
as,
first thing I tried to do.
That would be a
what'd you say?
grant through the Historical Society.
See if they can,
We can certainly make
Let's
applications.
make application
Yeah.
for it.
yeah.
Most they do is turn us down.
Well, that was the only thing when I say take it down, I was like, we might get like
So
yelled
see,
at,
that
but it's not
$50,000
working
grant
and
might
it's
put
falling
it
apart.
Andy after all as a placeholder.
I use my hair sometimes more than a hair rack.
Well, the fact is, I hate to say it, these two buildings are really old.
Oh,
We
yeah.
just try to do the best we can, but you can spend millions of dollars, you know. And actually, there's not been done much stuff in these buildings the last few years either. Matter of fact, nothing really.
And so, to that point, the facilities improvement and construction, that's where there's 15,000 as far as improvements and construction. While you were gone, Bobby brought up the potential of getting the quotes and that for the ramp on the capital improvements.
There's no way, I've already got a quote on it. It's be around 70 or 80,000.
Of what?
On the ramp at the clerk's office?
70 to 80,000?
Yeah.
Where the heck did that come from? Can we
That
get
came
some
from
more?
the architect.
Can we get some more quotes?
Well, that wasn't an exact quote, that was just an estimate, because it was about 45 to 50,000 out the labor. And you don't wanna do wood on that, you wanna do steel, you wanna do that. Because it'd be high maintenance, and then people in wheelchairs walk on it, you know, I don't wanna do that. Problem we got there too, guys, is when you get up there, you got two doors go through it.
Here's the thing, you know how the school systems, maybe this is someone we can talk to, the mobile homes where the classrooms are outside,
Yeah.
those are wooden, and those have held up for years, decades maybe. You know the mobile homes outside, like at the high school and
Well,
middle
there's
school?
steps, you mean with steps?
No, they're a
Ramp.
ramp, they're a wooden ramp, and they're outside of the mobile homes for the extra classrooms, for the overflow, because we couldn't build a new school at the time, and so they had those, wonder where those come from.
It's expensive, but you got that neoprene, decking now.
Yeah.
It's a hard.
Jacqalynn, I think
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you,
Shop Place
it's not maintenance free though.
All I know is they were,
I think Eddie Gabbard shot, I think.
Concrete.
well, I'm talking
cheaper
Grant
than
County, I
what
don't
we're
even know
talking about,
about
too,
Williamstown,
Bob.
that
it
is,
is, concrete's cheaper than pressure treated boards right now.
but
It
that's,
is?
Yeah,
I knew it was high, I didn't know the difference
I
though.
was gonna say it never came down after Hurricane Katrina. But to that point, the 741 would be where monies could be put
Yes, ma'am.
for that project. And we were talking with the carryover monies that will come from the clerk's office. Scott said that would show as a carry forward. So. Now, Steve, underneath the judicial center with the custodial services,
That'll go away.
that one will also go away then?
That'll go away. Right, Scott?
Is that, so that'd be 230,000, so that's 60,000.
Where's this at?
This is underneath the judicial center,
Well,
following
that's
in line.
586.
You're gonna lose 30,000, you're gonna lose 60,000 in contract,
Right,
but you're
and
gonna
then
hire somebody
32,
back.
okay, just wanted to, okay.
Remember I said,
So we're down to
effect is
108, we're down to
$30,000
108, right?
No,
108.
No, we're down to 90, as
We're
you
down to
left.
90, yeah.
If
We'll
you
go find
if you
18.
go back outside, we'll find some more.
Now, what was
Where'd you
that?
get the 18 off of 108? We had 138 and 30.
Got 10.
Hmm?
We got 10.
We took 10 out of
10 out
data
of
processing,
data-
because we're not gonna
data
have to
processing.
replace servers.
Okay, 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 great.
So then that would still be accurate, the 30,000 for the judicial.
I'm sorry, I don't
It's,
have.
and utilities is 60, right?
Does that sound, is that fair? Is that still holding true underneath the utilities year to date? Okay.
Yeah, that's, we looked at those really closely, Scott and I did, and
Okay.
we just, maybe.
And, one of the questions Judge had for me was, we've got 30,000 in building maintenance for supplies. That building is gonna start showing age too, and we need to maintain that building rather than let it deteriorate and then come back later and try to.
So to that point, not that we're in a place of saving money, but should we not be putting a little bit more money in each of the maintenance to create a pool for future? For an example, what's happened for 20 years at the jail, there's never been a line item created for capital improvements.
I'd love to do that, but
If we had the revenue, I'd love to do it.
Okay.
I mean, it's
That's-
physically impossible right now. This is a very tight budget. It's scary is what it is.
And building inspector, zero monies underneath the vehicle maintenance.
It's got a car with a new warranty on it.
So you're thinking that,
We're
Okay,
thinking,
okay.
no, and we can take it out to the, well, we got a warranty on it, that's why.
okay. And Bobby, to your point on the fire department, we will continue to put money, not as much as we put in the past underneath the fire protection.
Right,
So
yes.
it's like 50,000 less.
Yes, ma'am. And I still think we'll be okay with that line item.
I do too. That might be,
Yeah, I just know historically it's always been like 125 for, I don't know,
that's right.
a long time.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Now getting back to the,
Ask it.
Okay.
wait, Jack.
No, you go
Just the
ahead.
ambulance service, under ambulance service, $10,000. That is,
Dry Ridge.
we had to pay them $10,000 a year.
We have to pay them 10,000 a year.
Is that what it is, Scott?
They said,
We've got 10,000 in the line item this year, we're gonna pay 5,250. But we know those costs are gonna be going up.
And what is that for, county services?
And that's a line item that's been paid out of the Grant County budget to the city of Dry Ridge for rescue for a number of years. And I can't answer you as to why that budget line item is in place.
I can
Who
call
cuts,
them.
yeah, who cuts the check?
County treasurer.
Once a
Because
year?
even though it's Dry Ridge, the county has still got, is obligated to furnish,
Ambulance service.
that's right.
I mean, it's a good deal then, if it's only 5,000, but I was just,
We're preparing for the increase.
okay. So this will probably be for
That might be
county,
for.
countywide
fuel or-
coverage or something.
Les ain't here
They're running a lot of, I think they're running a lot of calls to Corinth.
Well, but then the offset is that ambulance sits there and they collect the fees off of every service they go on because they have the certificate of need.
Right.
So it's a moneymaker for them.
They act like it's not, but it probably is.
It
there's
is.
never money in
It
ambulance
has to
service.
be.
It is.
Well, from an insurance standpoint, they get to submit them a $500 bill and the city of Dry Ridge reaps
Right.
those monies, and it's because there can only be one certificate of need for the county.
Excuse
and
me, I apologize. If you look back, a rescue squad, we paid Dry Ridge 5,250. If you look at the other rescue ambulance service, isn't that one zeroed out?
The equipment acquisition is, but the ambulance service is
Just let
10,000.
him know.
So should that be zero? Maybe.
I don't think it should, Scott.
I'll have to talk to the city.
Okay. Because you would have been looking underneath the disaster.
Right.
That would be 303, so 5140 underneath ambulance services.
Well, I'm telling you, Steve needs to talk to you well before we come back to this table.
I'll do it, buddy, I'll do it.
Well, because rural
Sheriff's
Metro's
probably
been sitting
connected
down
with him
there,
right now.
right? They had been sitting down there for a long time, I don't know if that's,
Switch out someone kind of ambulance. That's something to do with switching them out.
You know what? Go ahead and take that 10,000 out. If we have to pay it, we'll pay it out of that.
what, emergency situation?
We'll pay it out of that other line item with contract for other agencies.
Oh, for the fire
Fire
protection.
protection. We'll just pay it out of that line item. That's what that money's set aside for. Zero that 10,000.
But nothing shows on your end where we've paid?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Now, that $25 that you don't collect very much of for the fire dues and stuff, does that reflect anywhere in here?
That's in the, that's in the fire
What,
protection.
I'm sorry.
I said the $25 that is sent to the sheriff for the fire dues.
But it goes to the cities,
Goes to the cities.
Yeah, don't go to the
county.
And the-
general fund.
But what I'm saying, that might be the way it's happening in the past, but the county is mandated to furnish, fire protection and ambulance service, stuff like that. So,
But I think you just funnel to each fire, when I say cities, it's funneled to each fire department, like Jonesville is not a city.
right,
And that money goes to their fire department, it's in their district.
And then each one of the fire departments, whatever amount of money they were collecting when that went into effect, if they were hurt by it and they're not getting that amount of money, then that contract with other agencies line item is used to pay them to bring everybody up to standard.
that's that
But
Which
portion.
that's
is
a
at
general-
25,000 per
But that's
fire
a,
department.
that's a general fund appropriation.
And in the past, recall that the county had given 25,000 across the board to every entity, which is where the 125 historically had been, and then there would be cushion for where there'd be
Right.
monies available for extra projects as needed to provide relief.
but did they just use that money for fire protection only, and it got nothing to do with ambulance service at all?
No, that's not.
Do we pay Corinth, or the city for Corinth fire, or ambulance?
Last
Say
year-
that again?
Do we pay anything to City Dry Ridge for the ambulance in Corinth?
We bought that ambulance
Okay,
And,
for car.
and then
so
they
it's just a
staff it.
one-time,
Yes.
Yeah, one-time deal, Chuck.
And then Dry Ridge EMTs, those that are certified to staff it, actually work out of the Corinth.
I don't think anybody's working out of the way I
Well,
understood it.
Well, I won't say working, they get dispatched to come to
way-
that
yeah.
unit to drive it,
The way I
yes.
understand it, it's Corinth EMTs will go ahead and take the ambulance to the scene. Dry Ridge will drive another ambulance to the scene.
I was gonna say, that's
And
not how it's
this
supposed
is
to go
coming from
down.
the fire department at Dry Ridge.
Why is that the way it's?
Yeah.
Well, and
I did that's not the way it's supposed to be.
it is not, and
Gas,
I'll
wear
also
and
say
tear.
this, that, they don't have all the staffing with the credentials to run the ambulance,
Right.
but.
They
we were
have to
always-
have 2 EMTs.
that's the problem.
We were
Yeah.
told they did have the staff.
No, they
We
never
were told
had.
that by Dry Ridge when we bought the ambulance.
They
Well, they
never
have two,
had.
they have two
And they've
if
been
they're
sending them.
available.
They have the staff to go chase that ambulance and meet it for the medic needs.
But
That's
not the certification
Right.
to operate the ambulance and.
No, they used that certification to buy that ambulance from Dry Ridge.
Right, I'm talking to employ, like, you
Staff.
volunteer,
Oh, I
Steve
see.
Wood, have you went to schooling to be able to provide those services?
We were told they had it.
They have not, and they've been working to get folks, certified, but you have to go to school. You have to be certified, like the tech college and that,
That's a lot of time wasted,
and you
getting from point A to point B.
right, well, and they had said that they would, have someone working there or someone assigned close by just because they were volunteer at Dry Ridge. There are folks that actually live in Corinth. But that's interesting, because that's new information.
We're down to 88,000, you all.
Okay.
I'm gonna look into that, Jack.
No, I mean, that's no new news to me. I knew that they don't have the
Right.
staffing. They have the staffing, but not the certification to run the ambulance, of which Dry Ridge staff members run it. Now, whether or not Corinth and folks are volunteers or driving the ambulance, that's new information to me, because that's not, I don't think, the right protocol.
Well, as long as there is 2 EMTs there, they can do it. You have to have an EMT and a certified first responder in order to roll a BLS ambulance. To roll an ALS ambulance, you have to have an EMT and a paramedic.
You know, because you did this.
Yeah.
And it's the paramedic I'm looking for, right?
The paramedic's the key to that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what Dry Ridge wants to get there. If it's a heart patient or trouble
And I know they've
breathing.
got like one person that's going to schooling, but it's just one.
Right.
Set up again. We thought we were doing a big favor to Corinth. I don't think we did much favor.
Well, I mean, it could help. It could potentially, if they get it out.
The
That's,
staffing.
I mean, you take somebody that's having a heart attack, if they can go ahead and load and go and at least make it to Grant County before Dry Ridge can ever get there, you've done good.
I had two people call me, they saw it took, almost an hour to get the ambulance there, and the people who lived, they died before the ambulance got there. That's the reason that came about.
Yeah.
I thought the safety part was important.
Underneath the animal control and care, does the salary reflect the new salary, that additional salary that we'll have to absorb since?
The
Okay.
CAC.
It does, and that's
Okay.
something that kind of tears me up a little bit, but
What'd you
I
just
didn't
ask,
even
Jacqalynn?
I didn't realize this, I don't even know if it's common knowledge, but the animal shelter for what, 4 years plus have had a staff member,
Yeah,
paid
under
for
grant.
by a grant, the whole salary of this person, and the grant's expired now. Of course, the animal shelter still needs the staffing, of which, general tax dollars will now need to support, absorbing that salary because
Exactly
that
right.
grant
They
has
cut the grant,
expired.
yeah.
I didn't know anything that was even going
How
on.
much money are we talking about there?
It's like a whole, like 30,000 or
30,000?
32?
It's a part-time position,
We're not paying benefits.
with no benefits.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be a job training and reentry, through a job training and reentry work program with Community Action Commission. They're supposed to do it for like a year or 2 years, and Community Action Commission just kept extending the contract, and finally came in and said, we can't extend this contract any further.
So is that something that Marcia,
Marshall will have to put that, we've got that in her budget.
and she says that she still needs that?
Absolutely.
She says she.
This is the person who comes in and does the feedings on Sundays,
Okay.
runs to the shelter when there's an emergency situation. If she gets a night call, she can go in and take care of that. So she's very
I tell you, I'll
active.
say it, but she really watches her bunch.
Yeah, I knew that she did, so that's why I figured that the request was there because the need was surely there.
Okay, how close are we? It's 88?
88.
Let me see your numbers in that. Your budget.
Oh, which one do you want?
The new one.
Let's see, I kinda got it mixed up here a little bit. Oh. Here we go. I got them all mixed up, Scott. Here, is this it? Yeah, that's it, my bad.
The transport lines underneath the sanitation and water system, that's capital improvement of those lines that we owe on for the loans. Okay. And then underneath other health programs, the community education
Yes, ma'am.
piece, where are we at on that? And that was with the Board of Education through Grant County.
5,000.
And is that something that we still need to continue to support, or? Because, and
I'd
I
like
only
to-
say that because we're not doing it for Williamstown Independent Schools, but yet we're doing it for Grant County.
That's a
And
darn
Grant
good point.
County
That's a
is
darn good
already
point.
collecting taxes on the property bill.
That deal was made, quite frankly, with Darrell Link, it's in writing, but it was 10,000 before, and then he dropped it to 5 without changing the agreement. I had to go over the school and explain to him why we didn't have the money to pay the 10,000, and we just
But what
dropped
is
it to
it-
5.
But what was it for? I remember someone
Community
saying,
service,
It's
just,
the community
it's
education
except for the
program.
Howe girl,
Miss Nancy,
Nancy Howe.
It was a joint, a joint program between the recreation depart, started out as a joint program between the recreation department and community ed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
But if that doesn't exist and Miss Gutman is now doing, you know, school programs, Girls on the Run, other
She does
things.
do a lot of that, you're right. That's a good point.
I'm
It's a big
just,
state, but you know,
Your call.
we may have to cut.
I'd like to see the
They've got their own
contract.
tax base.
Well,
I
that's,
got it, right?
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't know what it was when I first took office, you know, I thought, what in the world is that?
I remembered the background, but I just thought at some point in time it would dissolve, like so it's an ongoing.
I don't think so. I think Nancy Howe.
Is there a community ed director anymore?
Yeah, it's Nancy Howe.
No.
No,
No,
she's
she's
a
a-
communications officer.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, I don't even
I
think
mean,
they have.
Jill Thomas
she's
used to
doing that
be,
double
and
duty,
then,
I think.
She did, used to be.
yeah, that
and
was
Oh,
the
that's
true
and they
title.
never
They've got
staffed
Ms.
it.
Howe doing both jobs now.
Yeah, they got Best Howe doing both jobs.
Okay.
But what is that?
That's what I'm
not-
saying,
I know when we
is,
met
I
with
don't
them
think
and
it's
talked about
relevant
it, they
anymore.
were adamant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see what she's doing as community ed director.
I agree with you.
I mean, she's PR for the school and sort of a secretary for the school.
But supposedly she did, like she spoke at the chamber breakfast about 3 times ago and was showing what all she's doing for the community.
So is that 5,000 you want to cut?
Got it.
Well, I feel like it's maybe a program that existed when the county did have a community education person, but if this is a Grant County, school board employee or any Grant County school board employee doing it and it's already funded underneath one tax revenue stream, then we have another.
No,
Huh?
we don't need to fund.
Well,
I
I
agree with
did,
Chuck, I think that, and we don't do it for Williamstown, you know, I feel bad about that, but maybe they've got asked
so
for it and
it
they
used to
got it.
be 10, because I do remember
Yeah,
Jill,
but that was designed for
like
sort of
back,
like a position Marcia, or, not Marcia, but Gutman's in,
Maddie's got it.
Maddie.
that Maddie's doing. I mean, it was,
and they did a partnership like with school programs
That's
over
what,
the
yeah,
summer.
Yeah.
Tabitha
But now
and Jill
those
work together
programs-
on those programs. You don't
and
have that
yeah,
now.
summer, I mean, that's Nancy, Howe doesn't work with some of the park activities.
He's absolutely right about that. I agree.
Or the summer programs that do exist.
And I'm
are-
not saying she's not doing anything, I'm just saying that what that was designed for in the beginning, I don't think,
Are you still on you're on site base?
no,
Oh,
no more.
okay, I thought I was wondering, so there is a contract that's active.
Well, it's a letter, you know,
Okay.
yeah. See, when I cut it from 10 to 5, well, Daryl did, I didn't. When I sent them 5,000, they called me and wanted to talk to me about it.
They
Showed
wanted
me the
the other
letter. They
guy?
showed me, I didn't know the letter existed, they showed me.
Okay, so Joe's trying to say, okay.
And that was part of the budget 2 years ago. They just arbitrarily changed it from 10 to 5 and didn't tell the school system. So if we're gonna do it, we need to let them know
Oh,
while they're doing their budget
You know, they
process.
let me tell them.
When will we write them a letter? Give them a call and then
I'll write 'em a
follow
letter.
up.
I'll go see
Yeah, I
them.
think, yeah.
Excuse me, y'all.
Okay. And this program support for mental health retardation, that's payable to North Key
Yes, ma'am.
at
That's a
80, yeah, the 85. Okay.
Yeah, it's a biggie.
And we still have the part-time person doing the labor and maintenance at the park,
Yes,
the
Colby.
cleans.
Wait a minute now, I am a little bit confused myself, that we got custodian and the maintenance, Scott, how do we come up with that?
Excuse me?
Under Parks and Recreation,
That custodian position was the one that,
oh, that was, what's his name? That was Scott, your buddy,
Buster?
I'm sorry, I'm just kidding, Buster Fornash.
that was a position,
Yeah.
that maintenance position was there, and then Buster took it over. You appointed Buster, and then we never refilled it. I was gonna say, it'd be my suggestion that if we're gonna have somebody who can do light maintenance to repair bathrooms and stuff like that, with Colby doing the cutting and with the other work going on, we could cut that 17,000 out.
Well, I just feel like That, the whole Parks and Rec from a community standpoint's budget is completely, tiny. I mean, it's so shallow. I mean, keeping that money there for programming is what I would like to see done. Like summer programming that was cut last year. I mean, maybe not the full salary kept there, but at least a portion of it, to give her some monies to provide some
I don't
programming.
think she's got enough, don't you? Spot, we talked to her and everything?
I don't think she,
Scott.
No, she,
She's got enough to maintain what she's got. She doesn't have any money for expansion. She's
Or-
got enough to maintain.
or to do, I think, some other things that she would like
a
to be
lot of
able
stuff
to
goes
do.
on that park that goes unnoticed. It's a pretty busy place, and every weekend, any weekend through the
It's-
summer, it is packed.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing a lot, we're doing a lot for all different, you know, the little leagues and stuff of that nature that is a good service to the community, but this budget, her budget is gonna be lean.
Well, this is one she suggested, that she said, she's the one who gave us the budget numbers.
Yeah.
We didn't ask her, she gave it to us. She felt the need to cut back on some of it because like they were duplicating and all that stuff. You don't want to talk to her, feel free.
So, but the salary parks custodian, the 17,000 is currently
We cut
not
it.
staffed.
We cut it.
That's correct.
I
And,
thought we'd already cut it.
No,
No, we did not.
you all right?
Not really. Allergies.
tourism convention,
What did you say about?
Can I ask, what did we decide?
That,
Yeah, what's the final conclusion on
Recreation.
custodian?
Cut out.
Till 30,
or, yeah, 35, and
Do
that
what?
was
I'm
still
sorry.
in the 7.
7 to cut.
Yeah. I would,
we didn't say cut that 7.
no, we said,
Oh, I thought you did.
No,
no,
no.
we would like to reallocate some of that money to the recreational events
The
that,
348,
yes.
Okay,
And I would propose it to be 35,000.
Well, let me say something to you about that. I need to talk to her.
Yeah,
She said this money is plenty.
I mean,
Well, it
I
isn't,
talked,
Jacqalynn just saying, transfer the 17 from one line item to another. Leave it the same, but put that 17 in another line item.
or at least
Word.
10 of the 17,
Where do you want to put it?
and allow her to have, hold on here.
348.
Yeah, the 340, he's not on the right, on the pages, juveniles. Right here, underneath the recreational events.
No, but she's got plenty of money for that, for what she's planned. That's what I say, we do it next year's budget if you want to. I'm serious, y'all. I've talked to her many times, unless she told you all something.
Well, and to his point, the money is there, but we're not staffing that 17,000, so it's probably very likely that we would end up doing a line item transfer.
Well, I mean, 17,000 you pick up, balance the budget.
I don't think we need to cut it.
I think some, but not all. Where are you at?
Well, I'll call her tomorrow and see if she thinks she needs it, you know, whatever y'all want to do.
Need to put question mark beside
What's
it.
your thoughts on it?
I gave you all my best guess. I don't, it's strictly up to you.
We'll follow up.
I'll call her tomorrow and talk to her, and then maybe have her call you all too or something.
Yeah, I mean, I stay in contact with her just through other events and stuff, and I know that it would be awful nice to be able to provide,
Well, now, I'm gonna tell you what we found out going through this. We spent a lot of money we were never budgeted in that, did we, Scott? Every year, we spent more money with more than money that was budgeted. And it was never, I don't think it was approved by the fiscal court, was it?
Yeah, but it was just the way it was, they spent it and then they would go back at the end of the year and do the budget and line item adjustments. So it was there, but it was, they had to move it around to make it correct.
Well, this park and recreation is all about youth, and if, you know, we don't need to drop the ball on kids' activities, and That's the only thing I'm going by.
Well, that and the senior citizens
Yeah.
is there
Senior
too.
base and stuff.
Well, the only thing we do for the senior citizens is the dinner every year, right? The senior bash.
Yes.
We got money in there for that.
Well, then on the flip side, we project to have donations, and there will come a time
Oh,
when we
yep.
may not get
No,
all.
we'll get them. We don't have any trouble getting that at all. Matter of fact, we had so many gifts to give out last year, I thought we'd never quit. I'll call Maddie tomorrow.
Tourist and convention commission payment, what's that, Scott?
That's the tax, that room tax that comes in, it's a straight wash through.
Pass through.
Is that North Key money, is it a wash or is it,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Is that
So
reflected?
they're getting every bit of the tax money,
Is that more
and it's going right to them?
that's coming in?
Yes, sir.
because used to there was a reserve there, that's why I'm wondering.
That's good. Same with,
So does it go up each year, or, I mean, if,
same with the commission thing.
do they get exactly what's taken in on their district?
According to the financial reports I've seen, they've gotten the same amount from the county for a year.
Every year? But there used to be an excess fee or amount.
Those excesses were gone before we got here.
Okay.
There was no reserve.
So if you were gonna give a girl money, you wanna give her all 17 or give her half or what?
I'd say at 10 is where where would you all be at? So that the programs are 35 instead
I'll
of
probably have
25.
her call you, I'll talk to her and say, give the manager a call. And if y'all think she needs more money, I don't have a problem with it.
Because that will still give us some.
Maybe
to
she's
go
being,
back.
maybe she's being too tight with it. I'm not gonna lie to you, she might be.
I think that's a fair statement.
Could be. She's trying to watch the money real close. I didn't say to her, just. I have a
So
hard
is
time getting her
that-
to drive the county car when she's doing stuff. I do. She doesn't like it. Just kinda like.
How close are we, Mrs. Coldiron?
78,000, no wait, I take that back. We're only downing 7,000,
Yeah, if we, yeah.
How much?
we're down to 81,000.
Boy.
81.
Underneath the general services is the audit services, general services 9,100 with the account, line item 307 with 30,000. Is that still running pretty true?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was almost a fixed cost there.
And then I saw the email from Peggy in that same area with the insurances going up as far as the bond premium and that's reflected,
Yes,
right? Okay, because that was a pretty hard hit too.
What about the employees' health insurance? Tabitha talked about that,
6% is going up. I hate it too.
but see, she said something about, she had talked to somebody about the insurance pool.
But that's what we're in for.
Oh, you're in that pool?
And if we drop out of the pool, we have to put all our money back that's in it, which is around $750,000. Now, that was a deal they did, and we had nothing to do with it. I'm not trying to throw the blame out.
I just know she said something about some of her costs on her pregnancy and.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a mix-up. She got everything.
Well, what happened was the company, during her first pregnancy, she had the county had a completely different insurance program. And this company doesn't provide the same level of benefits
On anything.
on anything that they were getting.
It's
back then.
horrible.
Judge and magistrates, if you'll go to 71, or 7,700.
What section is that?
Lease principal.
Yes.
I've got
Doesn't affect-
600,000 budgeted there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna suggest that you cut that to 575. Peggy and I met on long-term debt yesterday, and we're safe in doing that.
Are you sure?
Based
Yep.
off like the
We
payments.
talked about that.
We're safe.
From what to what now?
Take it from 6 to 575.
So that's 25,000 more?
Mhm. down to 56,000.
That's about your salary, isn't it?
What's that?
I'm just-
Oh,
I think, what?
before insurance or after?
You volunteer. Yeah, sure, Rob. I'm just kidding.
I have a question on that insurance though. How did Boone County afford to drop out of it? That's the question I
Boone
have.
County didn't drop, Boone County has never been in the consortium. What Boone
They-
County did was terminate their relationship with MedBen,
They were
Okay.
who is the pharmaceutical provider, the third-party provider, but they were never in the consortium that's putting money into the reserve.
I just remember their name being on all our paperwork with
They were part
the
of
other
MedBen.
counties.
Yeah,
They
they were
got
a
rid of
big push
Mitch.
when they were trying to push us in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were,
Good question, though.
I mean,
It's a
yeah, I
fair
just,
question.
and I heard that from a Boone County deputy that they switched up, so I didn't know.
You know, I didn't know any about this, and then
Yeah.
Scott and I, he researched it, and I thought, what? We're the biggest in the pool, aren't we, Scott?
that's correct.
I'm sure we are, yeah.
Well, I
It
recall
was
we
like
had,
Carroll and a couple other smaller,
It's Carroll, Pendleton, Owen,
in the,
City of Villa Hills, City of Park Hills, Carrollton Water Works, no, Edgewood never got in.
okay. And the catch is, the longer you stay in, the bigger that pool gets.
That's right.
So as we talked at, prior meetings, it was almost like, if we're ever gonna make a decision to get out, we
Well,
get
that's-
sooner
I mean,
we
that's
get
what I'm
out,
thinking, because
the more
families
savings we
can't
get.
keep taking these hits when you got people with family plans, you know.
Oh,
Because the
no.
thing-
Their raise is
Because
ate up by
it's
insurance
like, what,
premiums.
800 or 900
That's
a
exactly
month?
right.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. It's
it's
sad.
about almost 700 a month with this 600 or 6% raise.
It's not just happening in government.
No,
It's
I know,
mean,
it's
I'm not making
everywhere,
excuses.
yeah. No, I,
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, his deductible was $10,000.
yeah.
Our plan's not bad when you go to the doctor and stuff.
Yeah, deductible wise, yeah, it's not too bad.
It
I
was the
just, I
best
just
plan.
look at it from the standpoint of
Yeah, it was the best
people's
plan.
raise gets ate up by health insurance, their check's actually less than it was the year prior.
That-
Because
Well,
of
that's what
that.
he was saying, like, when you look at, such a low percentage of a salary increase,
Yeah.
you don't even see it.
Yeah,
In fact, you see a reduction because
because of
the
the.
offset.
Well, last
the
year's
insurance.
20%.
Right,
Well, we were hot about that.
yeah.
Frankly,
I mean, do they ever foresee that as that pool gets bigger going down?
I'd say.
Well,
So they-
it'll all depend on 2017 when the community-based rating goes into effect. Right now, you're rated based on your pool and the cost for the pool. In 2017,
They changed that to the community base.
yeah, what do they call it, the Affordable Care Act,
Affordable Care Act, Obamacare.
fully
Yeah.
kicks in, and when it fully kicks in, then it's a
That's right.
community-based rating, and no one knows what will happen to rates when it goes to community-based. It'll be dependent upon the cost of healthcare in a region or community. So we're all kind of just waiting to see.
See what happens.
It's terrible. I
Yeah,
think it's wrong.
But in Grant County's case, about half the reserve, they're at about 700,000 reserve, half of it is Grant
Is
County's
ours.
money.
Scott, within the, continuing down the proposal, within the road maintenance, is there any wiggle room on some of these line items such as equipment repairs or garage supplies?
But they've changed funds.
Yeah, well, I was just following the overall
Yeah,
line.
the road fund is solvent, you're okay there.
Okay, all right, so then, okay.
I can tell you that if you promise not to move money next year,
We
and
don't,
don't let anybody come in and talk you into any new projects, you can take another 20,000 out of the reserve for transfer and take that down to
6,000.
we've got 125 in there right now. You could take that down to 115. You could get 10,000 out there.
Where's your,
are
where
you
you
on the
at?
contingency appropriations,
I'm under-
9,200?
Yep,
Okay.
999.
Okay, that one you have on our budget that you sent us 75,000. So did you already put it?
Oh, I already cut that. I'm sorry. I didn't have that noted in my book.
Because if you did,
I only
then,
have that noted in my book. I'm sorry.
On the insurance, real quick, if I just understood what we said, next year we stand to lose even more money by staying with them, correct?
Yes.
Every year you put in money, which makes the pool
What
bigger.
has to happen is that we have to notify Cheryl Morgan and Associates, who has the broker contract for the county, that we want to explore rates outside the consortium, and they have to start putting those bid packets together for us now.
And
But it would
it's
take
gonna be
a
the
full
same company again that's gonna give us 3 different bids.
They have to go out and get the bids.
But it's the same broker getting the 3 bids for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'd be like me having a dump truck and giving you 3 bids for salt, but I still get the truck.
You still get the yeah.
There are very few people in the insurance industry that are doing what they're doing. That's why they've got the contracts they've got. You've got counties like Kenton County that have been paying them for 20 years to manage their self-insurance. They went out on their own 20 years ago, but they still have to pay that cost just to maintain compliance with ERISA guidelines.
Man,
It's just
what a
bad.
racket. I
Bad
mean,
and
if you got the only,
You're the only game in town.
how do you get ahead of that? There's gotta be a way to get ahead of it.
Going back to doing it yourself.
Nobody in northern Kentucky's found that out yet. They're representing over 100 governments across the state right now.
Who's their competitor, or do they have one?
Judge, I really don't know who the
I hadn't heard
would be.
about it.
I can't believe the Keiko don't get in the middle of this.
Well, that's the
That's
question
what
I
we're-
have. I mean, when you talk to the city of Dry Ridge and hear what KLC does for them, I mean, That's phenomenal.
Kentucky Association of Counties never went, well, I won't say, I don't know if they're in the health, if they're doing health now. They got in some problems with running their All Lines Fund about 10 years ago, and the Commissioner of Insurance threatened to shut them down. And all the counties had to pay an assessment to keep the pool alive. And since then, a lot of folks have been hesitant to go there. While their programs have been accredited and are doing a great job, it scared a lot of people that the programs went upside down. I'll be glad to contact KCO and find out if they'll even give us an estimate based on our rating, but we'll have to rely on the rating that comes to us from MedMen to move it forward.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks like the problem ain't gonna get no better.
No.
And
I agree with you.
there's a point to where sooner or later, we can't be employed to a county and right now use just to get our insurance paid.
and I
And
look at
that's almost
it,
where we are.
I
mean,
look
it's
at it
almost
from
a
the
split for
standpoint,
me.
we just hired Thomas Britton. Well, that boy, excited as all can be to become a deputy until he got his first paycheck with his insurance.
Yeah.
He's now making less money than he was working at Amazon. And
What?
him and his wife had to figure out, was he gonna stick it out and go to the academy? Which he stuck it out, but, you know, then you look at our competition up the street, City of Dry Ridge, who's growing. They're gonna be hiring maintenance people, they're gonna be hiring police officers, they're gonna be hiring firemen. Not only are they paying more money than we're paying our county employees, but they're also paying their entire health care. They're out 0 deductible.
And you
Yeah,
find
it's a they're-
Are you serious? Zero?
I
I
swear
can't
to
believe
you.
that. I believe
I sit down with the mayor.
I'm shouting forward to it.
Yeah, I sit down with the mayor and his lady that takes care of their health insurance, and she showed me and Chuck on paper what it costs them for an individual, a family, and they pay everything. They pay the entire premium, whether you have yourself or yourself and 5 kids, and then they carry a second insurance that they pay for, so that that family is out $0 on the deductible. And that's all through KLEC, or
Well, it's
KLC.
almost a part-time job dealing with them to get them to pay. Well, we pay up front. When they have to pay out, you almost gotta, I mean, it's a fight to get them
That's
to
that,
pay
like,
the
that
bills.
pre-qualifying.
And it, pre-qualifying and everything they throw at you, and they throw so much paperwork at you, it's almost confusing as to what they're gonna pay, what you're gonna pay. It turns into a part-time
And,
job.
and when you call them, they say, well, you're gonna have to call St. Elizabeth and tell them to recode it. They coded it wrong.
Yeah, they
Well,
put
that's not
us,
my job to call
They
and
put
make
us in
sure
the
my
break.
insurance is coded correctly for my office visit.
Williamstown will give you money if you don't even take their health insurance.
Well, and Williamstown pays their full premium too. That's what I'm saying.
And
Everybody we're
if you don't
competing
take
with-
it, you get a monthly stipend.
Right.
For
Yeah.
the other ones that you
Which,
don't.
I just don't understand that at all, why they would pay that.
And the other thing is,
It's a
I
ton of money.
mean, if there was something in the sight of the future that was gonna get better, you could maybe swallow the lumps. But hearing what you're all saying, it ain't gonna get no better.
It's just gonna hurt us and our families worse.
It's gonna be more in the pot, more for everybody to lose, and somebody's gonna have to pick up the difference.
So one option is, Scott, you can call Keiko to see what, that they're currently recommending or providing as far as potential options. Because then the third option is that we just go back to what the county used to do, and that was someone here administratively made phone calls, you know, to the healthcare providers, and then they just came themselves. Like, we didn't have a middleman.
Right.
I know since I've been here that the same dude
Yeah.
shows up in a fancy car, fancy suit, and gets our money. Now, whether he earns it or not, that's not for
Well,
me to
what's
decide. He just-
she's saying, at one point, prior to MedBen, Connie would call around, get quotes, and we would switch.
No, that same guy.
It's not,
No,
is it the same guy?
Mike Williams has handled the county's
Okay.
insurance for over 20 years.
Yes, that's what
Maybe
I'm
the MedBen's just the part that
Med
confuses
is
me
the
about the
third-party
whole thing.
administrator of the pharmaceutical, but the underwriting. But Mike Williams has been the broker agent for over 20 years.
Okay. Yeah. I just know we
With
used to
Cheryl
switch
Morgan Associates
insurances.
out
Yeah.
there.
About every 2 years.
Yeah, we go from Humana to,
Yeah, they give you one
Whatever.
break,
Yeah.
get you hooked, and then you have to switch it.
I'm glad to go.
That's the way it is.
Close enough, I think, we can.
yeah.
Like,
I switched
we're
to
within,
I
like,
think we're
50
close
cities.
enough to where we-
I mean, I'm not trying to rush it.
That's everywhere I've worked in that way
And
too.
the deductibles can be in the higher regardless.
What if we had, how many?
Like 56,000.
We can probably get this somewhere. I mean, I'll throw
It's
my
still-
fingers.
I think it's $1,500 a person.
Well, yeah, I
Out of
think.
your pocket.
Yeah, mine's like 4 grand.
Pretty close.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'll incorporate
once
these
in 10
changes.
years,
And it's in this new, okay.
Send you a revision.
Would you do the
now I'm
revisions in
paying a
red?
big premium every month, then come up with
Yeah,
a chunk.
I like it.
Sometimes, you know what
Not
I'm
at
saying?
all.
yeah.
So I mean,
Shauna,
sometimes
they'll
you gotta
be in
weigh it
red or
out.
gold or something, there'll be some way to note that
I
Yeah,
you.
just
because
think
I've got it
some of
running somewhere
They got
else.
Me
it.
too.
and
I understand.
I've started to just keep a running list here, and then I
Yes,
was
ma'am.
copying. Okay.
It's gotten to a point where you
You
don't
see
want
where
to
else we
spend.
can cut? I don't see where else we can cut. I don't really want to cut it, I'd rather give everybody everything, you know?
Now, the salaries that's managed in here, what are they based on? The
Excuse
two
me?
and the one?
2 and 1,
And the freeze of the,
over 50.
Okay. Okay. There we go.
And that was a tough decision, but I mean, you know.
yeah, I don't know if I'm there yet
What?
Well, hey,
On the what?
on this, that recommendation on all of it, knowing that.
what would be your recommendation?
I don't know, I just need to think about it.
Well, think
because
about
then
it, because that's a
last year
fair
hit-
question.
Well, last year hit the employee with 20% salary increase on the benefits, and then this year 6%. Hell, next year it's probably gonna be 10 or something, I'm sure, if the trend continues. And then to,
But that's what, and this doesn't make you feel any better, I checked with Judge Old Pendleton. They didn't give a raise this year. And then they may give 1%. I mean, it's terrible, it's terrible.
We can't get what we ain't got.
no.
That's the problem.
That's what I'm getting afraid of as time goes on though.
That's where there's some tough decisions gotta be made, and I think we all know what it is. And we can't wait on an ARC to generate revenue.
But they aren't giving us anything.
That's what I'm saying, we can't wait on, because they're not going to. And that was
We have
the,
to, it's a tip, you know. We
yeah,
have to pay him $38,000 a year
yep,
What?
because that was him, that was part of the,
incentive.
yeah, to get them to come here. And Daryl and, the mayor made that agree in Williamstown. And I'm not
City.
trying to say bad things, but I'm sending a check $38,000 here next week about that sewer out there. Well, actually, to the church really more than anything. And I have to go by
what the former judge did. I don't agree with it at all. Matter of fact, the mayor of Williamstown, who we get along really good, he called me the other day, wanted 38,000. I said, what are you talking about? It's there, it's in the agreement. And the road, we gotta work on the road out there. We got the chef, man, I'm telling you. Poor Steve and them, they had to go out there and
Patch
get that
it.
road. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's terrible.
they have to patch it about once a week. That road,
That'll be happening for the next 10 years.
Use potash to patch it.
yeah.
And see here, the church is out there too. Now, the church is just as much responsible for turning over that road as the ark.
Yeah.
They must have poured 400 million yards of concrete out there.
And more to come.
And they admitted it. Of course, they keep calling me every other week, can you put more potash down? Well, that costs money too, but I don't blame them in a way. But
Right.
now, what should we do? Should we go in there and build maybe don't blacktop it, but put a sub-layer down? or
I don't
something?
know that I'd do anything till they got the
I
art
wouldn't
construction
I
done.
wouldn't do
That's where I
anything
am.
I mean,
I was
that's,
gonna say, that
yeah.
took like 10 years too.
yeah,
Anything.
And really, the only thing he complains on is the dust from the cemetery.
yeah.
And boy, he complains too. You know him? Al?
Yeah,
Al's still in the military, I think. But he said if you can just slow him down to 15, now I'm gonna tell you, next week, we're gonna finalize that 15-mile-per-hour speed.
I know, I'm just, it's.
So what I was gonna tell you,
Well, I don't know why you'd want to drive more than 15 on that road. Beat your suspension.
well, let me tell you
out.
something. I was going 15 today with TAC, and there was a truck going about 35, 40.
Yeah,
And he
I
was
see.
throwing dust out like
There's your
crazy.
first ticket.
There you go.
And I'm thinking maybe maybe a couple of officers sitting out there just a few days kind of slow them down, but now I've talked to the ARC, I've talked to the main construction manager, they had a meeting, they told everybody, but they don't, if they leave that meeting, all the subs, you know,
Yeah.
they may be the subs, but they
It's
don't tell
quitting
their
time.
people. Yeah,
It's
Well,
quitting
you give them a
time.
few tickets, man.
well, what's that, Steve?
Give them a few tickets, they'll wake up.
Well, I was thinking about talking to sheriff about that,
Yeah.
Sure.
or Williamstown,
Yeah.
who would do that, Williamstown?
Well, either one.
City.
I mean,
Al's not in Florida.
City.
I don't know if Williamstown's got ticket books still or not.
But that's their road.
Yeah.
Al's not in Florida.
We're paying for
He's in Florida.
But somehow they're.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow. Okay.
Well, you want us to kind of meet with Peggy tomorrow and see what else we come up with, and I think you all did a good job with this stuff. It's really a tough budget, but there's going to be some hard decisions made here sometime soon, how we're going to handle these things.
Okay.
Well, you know, Shauna, you're the numbers girl, can't you do better than that?
No.
Let me ask
Right.
the judge and magistrates, we have a bill from
Eaton,
Eaton Asphalt, thank you, sir, that we need to get, submit approval for so we can get the check cut, get it to Frankfurt, and get our money back before they completely run out of money. Is there a time, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, that you all could convene for a special meeting for purposes of paying that bill?
5 minutes.
Wednesday, Thursday, or
What day?
Friday?
Just
What
tell
day
me
you
what day
want
I'll
it?
schedule.
How about Wednesday? What is day, Monday?
Can we do it Thursday?
We gotta do 24 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah, we gotta get 24 hours notice.
I just have one, are you gonna do an evening or a lunchtime?
Whatever you all want to do.
I can do lunch.
When do y'all wanna do it?
Friday.
I'm committed,
It doesn't matter, I'm available.
wouldn't be good for you, cause you,
Gonna do Friday?
Friday,
What time?
Noon?
12:15. Well,
12:15?
yeah, 12:15.
what is the amount of that? How much was it?
I don't know, sorry, I didn't look at the bill.
175,000 or something like that?
Yeah, we gotta pay 175, we get 128,000 back.
138,000. 138,000.
Yeah.
It's 175, so we lose.
We knew that,
Yeah, I
when
know.
we bid the warrant bids.
But I thought it was less than that, but that's probably right.
Okay.
Well,
To start,
When do you want to have another caucus to do work on the revenue, look at revenue revisions and then the jail?
I thought we had that written down already.
Well,
Well,
we do, but
why?
we have, we're,
You know, the 31st.
but we're scheduled for a first reading of the budget on the 16th. We're not gonna be ready for a first reading on the 16th if we haven't had the jail, have to balance the jail budget out with revenue by that time. So we'll have to move the budget approval off to the next meeting.
So are you thinking, next week or later this week or what?
I leave it to your pleasure.
Do we have to do that? We don't have to do
We just have to have it done by the 1st of July. We
Yeah.
don't wanna wait too.
Yeah, and we need to have,
it.
yeah.
This is to the next fiscal court meeting.
Just
No.
Not this one.
Do what?
We meet,
How about the one in June?
so
No, I
May
don't want, you
twenty-third?
don't wanna wait till the 1st of June,
Yeah,
because then
it's
you get
too
caught
late.
up in the crunch in Frankfurt.
Well, if we don't, we can't do it the 16th,
Let's
and the
just,
31st is the next meeting.
But you've gotta have a first reading, sir. Well, you could do that. You could do you could do the budget review on the
Let's
31st.
do it then.
Do a
I
first
think
reading and
it's
send it
too
to
late.
Frankfurt and do the
No,
second reading.
this is, the jail budget's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's gonna take
It's
some
got, I mean,
time.
you got 600,000 that you're under.
so we almost need to meet like next week or the following week? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, it's,
Today's May 9th.
the jail's gonna have to review what they've got.
Well, we met with the jailer and he submitted his stuff at the caucus. So now we're gonna have to sit down and review that again with him and go make,
Okay.
fine tune the
Right,
revenues.
That's what I'm saying.
Because that's the last big hurdle to cross to get it all in balance.
So can we do that next week then?
We're having a meeting Monday night.
That 15th, well, we can meet later on that week if that's.
That's
what
fine.
needs
If y'all
to-
wanna have a meeting later that week, next
Is
week
that-
to do that.
Oh, that's fine,
Okay.
you got, it's gotta be done.
Mr. Newman,
So like,
you wanna meet Wednesday night, Thursday night?
I'd rather Wednesday, I like Wednesday better.
so, May 18th, is that?
Is that convenient for the jailer?
You said yes.
Yes, sir. That's all he said.
And time,
Wanna do 5 o'clock?
is that suitable?
Earlier the better for us.
Ah, me too.
When I send out the special notice, I'll notify the press of a caucus, an additional caucus meeting to review that budget.
Okay.
In the meantime, Sheriff, I'll get you a copy of what they've talked about, and if there's any changes, we'll get back to you.
It's got
You get
itemized
it.
Listen.
Okay.
You think you eat bad ways,
Yours is
It
almost,
will.
all day long.
My nephew
yours is
does
almost
too.
intact,
He just
except
likes
for
to
the
eat it.
I want my boys to eat them like crazy.
Okay, so we got a meeting on Friday, 12:15, May 18th, 5 p.m., 16th regular meeting at 7.
yes, ma'am.
All right, just keeping it all straight.
Yes, ma'am.
What time do I eat?
How you doing? Just fine. Look at that one.